Many companies face challenges in generating high quality leads and converting them into revenue. If you've ever felt stuck trying to grow your B2B pipeline, you're not alone. In this video, I'll share with you how I helped an IT service company generate over $7 million in pipeline using a proven system that actually works, even if you're limited on a budget. Why you should listen to me? I've helped dozens of B2B companies scale their revenue growth through smart marketing strategies. So let's get into it. So how I generated $7.6 million in pipeline for an IT service company. The first thing I want to walk you through are the key challenges that they were facing. So they tried past strategies like cold calling, email blasting hundreds and thousands of emails that hadn't worked. The reliance of word of mouth and network for new business, which is a key problem many IT service businesses are facing. No systematic sales process and follow-up system. Leads that actually come in lack actual quality, and they've been burnt by agencies in the past. But their goals are to actually generate more sales and acquire higher quality leads, scale their revenue, and build a consistent lead generation system so that they can actually have quality leads coming in. Now, a brief background around myself. I'm a former Gartner business developer who's generated $3 million in 2 years across multiple functions, selling to IT, finance, risk and compliance, to multi-billion-dollar organizations, and booked over 360 C-level meetings with these billion-dollar organizations in 12 months, while also training the EMEA SDR team on outbound strategies, including cold email, cold calling, and LinkedIn outreach. And during my time there, I received extensive training where they actually train sales personnel of 100 accounts, and also including Intel and some other top billion-dollar organizations on the very best sales practices. In addition, I'm a Lemlist certified partner. I'm one of 50 that went through an extensive audit to become one of their service partners. I'm one of 50 out of 35,000 agencies working with them, and you can check us out here. And in addition, I've interviewed over 110 founders around challenges of business growth and how to overcome them, and made a white paper off the back of that. And I'll be sharing some of the key takeaways on this call today as well. What others are doing. So the majority of IT companies rely on referrals, are stuck in a feast and famine cycle of business development, and experience a reactive versus proactive growth phase. And they also struggle to communicate the true value of their customer. Even the great businesses in this space that are crushing it right now face the same challenges as any other business that's facing in regards to growth. When they want to grow, they only have two options, right? When it comes to growing their revenue, they either look at hiring direct staff or working with an agency. As you can see here, and any business owner knows, hiring direct staff can be costly. Just for an effective outbound process, you need to have a sales manager, a salesperson, and a marketing manager, right? Which, as you can see on here, doesn't come cheap, and that doesn't even account the recruitment costs, training, benefits, and the time investment of actually training this personnel, which can exceed over 160K per year on the minimum, with 50% of staff not working out and moving on. This is unlikely to get results you want efficiently because it takes time to ramp up sales and marketing, and especially in most organizations where they don't collaborate, there's no alignment there to get fast results. And also you can see on screen here, the real 18 players individually cost around 6 figures a year anyways. So this is only on the low end, investing 160K into the right team, which leaves many IT organizations and MSPs having to work with agencies. Now, the problem of today's day and age in agencies is twofold. First, you have to work with multiple marketing agencies paired with lead gen, paired with sales consultants to really build out effective lead generation process. But also, many agencies in IT aren't really specialized, right? They'll just take on any client, and most of them have actually just watched a YouTube video, learn a specific process in mind with a few AI tools, and call themselves an expert pro, but they're not actually in the field, in the trenches, actually knowing what to do, how to get clients themselves, leaving many business owners unfortunately burnt and then reluctant to try new processes. But in the game of lead generation, there's only really 4 ways to get clients, which I'll go into in a bit. But you can see if the lead generation agencies don't do their job and they burnt you, many businesses just hold to a stop and then don't know where to move forward with. So with that, we took 3 key steps into accelerate revenue for this company. The first one was their go-to-market strategy. Now, like mentioned, most of these organizations struggle to communicate their value, don't really know what to do, rely on referrals and don't have unpredictable growth, and lack content dedicated to each individual. So the first thing we do with their go-to-market strategy is to actually decide who to prioritize. Many companies get this wrong. So what we do first is actually interview their current clients to see why they bought, and also interview the right clients, right? So you want to be thinking about who was my best client, I love working with this client, who's paying us the most monthly revenue or annually, and really creating a list of these best types of clients. Then we'll interview them to really understand why they bought, what are the pain points, what they had tried, etc., so we can move forward. From there, we create strategic sales assets. So as you can see on screen here, is the buyer's pyramid, and most individuals take over 7 hours these days to engage with a business before actually buying. And as you can see, only 3% of buyers at the moment are ready to buy now, 6 to 7% are open to it, and another 90% aren't thinking about it or ready to buy it. Meaning we have to start unlocking the rest of this pyramid in order for us to unlock actual real growth. And here's what it means for your business. To get a client over the line, you need multiple meetings, pitches, customized proposals, and clients wanting to chat to other customers, right? And even then, some still turn around and say they're not interested. So the key to actually unlocking that 97% of the market where you're not competing with everyone else for the 3% is through education-based marketing. But many marketers get this wrong and they just slap a webinar sticker and say, hey, here's a 10-minute vague presentation, now you should buy from me. What we actually run are education-based campaigns. Now for this client, we used a few examples here. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but we create educational campaigns around specific topics, lead magnets, webinars, workshops, etc. From there, what we do is actually choose the right channel. So most organizations have warm outreach, right? But there's another 3 channels to be utilized to actually gain clients. That's cold outreach, posting on social media, and running paid ads. Now, paid ads have their place and they're a great start, but most organizations don't have time straight away or the funds to be invested into paid advertising, especially when it comes at a price of a lot of sunk cost at the start to really find a winner. So what we want to do is we actually liquidate that ad spend by utilizing content and cold outreach first. Now, I'll cover content quickly now and go from there. So the reason content right now is going to work and establish your inbound process and get more leads is because more businesses today than ever are consuming content to make decisions. Over 60% of buyers can now finalize their purchasing decisions by solely consuming digital content. 47% of buyers consume over 5 pieces of content before engaging an actual salesperson, and 72% of buyers consume at least 3 pieces of content before making a purchasing decision. So you can see here, content has become very big in the B2B space, and it's essentially a must-have in order to have a successful sales process and reduce the sales cycle. But content is hard to make. It's high cost and it's really hard to come up with ideas, writing scripts for posts, recording videos, editing videos. It's a lot. So what we've done is we've broken down the content strategy into 4 key pillars. And essentially what we've done is we'll sit down with our client and we recorded 70 to 80 mini questions of them answering them. Off the back of that, now we have 70 to 80 shorts, which takes about an hour to 2 a month to record with them. And off the back of that, we're able to create blog posts, LinkedIn posts, short form, long form content of educational pieces that we can use for our sales cycle, build our social media followings, etc. Once the content's done, you have to do cold outreach. Now, most agencies and businesses get this wrong. They either buy a list of 50,000 contacts and they just spray and pray generic emails to get attention, which inherently damages your reputation as it seems like you haven't done your research on the customer. And then also, if it does get your calendar full, it's probably flooded with unwanted appointments who are not your ICP. So the way to actually do cold outreach is the following. So here are the 3 key channels to actually grow your revenue. First, we're going to cover the cold outreach. So first, we have the strategic 100. So instead of using random prospecting, the best businesses focus on identifying 100 perfect fit potential clients, and they invest time in actually building deep relationships with these companies and crafting targeted, personalized approaches. Invest time in building deep relationships with these companies and crafting targeted, personalized approaches. Now, the way you will implement this is firstly identify 100 must-win accounts. What we do personally is create a criteria list, ideally off the back of the interviews we've done with the best types of clients we've already had, and we'll put some commonalities below. So ideal industry, job titles, power, geolocation, new to role. These are just some examples. Off the back of this criteria, what we'll do is actually widen the search by putting them into 3 buckets and improve prioritization and messaging. So we'll do must wins, tier 1 and tier 2 prospect. And the reason we're doing this is we want to start off with the must wins, who ticks every single box. We know they have power, they have decision-making power, and that's our ideal person to be working with. Once we exhaust them, to get into the account further, we'll do a tier 1 prospect, which is still a good prospect, but they might be missing 1 or 2 pieces of the criteria, which isn't ideal. And then tier 2 prospects, they're missing a few of these, but they can be a really good champion. In case we've exhausted all of our options, we'll pitch to them and then build an internal business case where they can be the champion to actually sell to the other stakeholders that we actually want to be selling to. And the reason why this works is it flips the marketing funnel. So the traditional funnel is you have traffic capture, then go into capturing them, engaging, and then the purchase, right? Here we actually target the accounts. We've already identified the right people. So from there we have to be engaging them and actually developing them. And the reason this works so well is because it's on top of account-based marketing, which many marketers are already familiar with. But essentially, it adds more personalization, it produces a higher ROI, efficient allocation of resource, and increases deal values. And in comparison with other methods with inbound, our inbound is broad and attracts general interest. Account-based marketing targets specific accounts, ensuring more qualified leads. And traditional outbound account-based marketing, the strategic 100 approach, is very much more strategic and personalized than generic emails, etc. And just some success rates based on studies, which you can see on screen here, is a higher ROI, increased engagement, deal size increases by nearly 30%, sales cycle reductions by 30 to 40%, and also improvement in pipeline velocity. And just some examples of companies doing this, there's Microsoft, IBM, Adobe, Salesforce, and much more to go from there. Now, once you've identified the right accounts, how do we target them? That's where we take the omni-channel approach. Now, as you can see on screen here, the number one mistake most businesses make with outbound is the lack of touch points. So this is a screenshot of a study done by the top 1,000 sales organizations in the world. And what you can see here is close to 90% of sales reps and businesses barely do a second touch point, meaning they barely said, have you seen my previous email? Whereas what it took to actually get the sale was 5 touch points. So you can see the massive discrepancy here of the amount of touch points you're doing as opposed to how many it actually takes to get a sale. So just by improving this, you get an improvement in your actual sales results and lead generation. But this study was only done by one channel. To actually maximize everything, we're going to take an omni-channel approach to really maximize results. Meaning what we're going to do is we're going to engage with clients by LinkedIn, email, sending letters, cold calls, in-person meetings, booking in through their calendar invite, attacking them from the contact us page on their business, any way or shape or form to really get in front of them. And the benefit of an omni-channel approach is really threefold. It improves brand recall because they start seeing your name everywhere. Secondly, it mitigates channel saturation. With email, you might be going to their spam, it might not be delivering, you might have the wrong email. On LinkedIn, they might not be accepting your connection request, and then there's nowhere else to go besides an email, and that's it. With cold calling, you might not be able to find their number. This way, you mitigate all channel saturation and make sure you're hitting people where they actually prefer to be hit, but also be able to maximize your scheduling opportunity. And as a result, it increases higher response rates and also conversion rates as opposed to any other method. And this very method has allowed us at Deal Closer to book all of these companies that you can see on screen here. An example angles that you can be using with this are lead magnets, webinars, exclusive invites, looms, workshops, podcasts, changes of voice notes, and many more additional angles which you can see on screen here. Now, the strategic 100 is great, but you're only limited to 100 accounts. So make sure those 100 accounts or your most top priority. Now, the second cold outreach method, which everyone knows, is email. Now, the number one mistake every business makes is actually forgetting the purpose of cold outreach. And that's to actually get in front of the decision maker that's in your ICP. And the way we do that is what we call the keynote method. Now, this is the method that actually got us to that $7 million in pipeline. And this really gives you the opportunity to showcase your expertise, add value upfront, and then deliver a soft pitch of your offer. Now, how this works is you'll reach out to your ideal clients and prospects, and you'll position a keynote workshop on a number one pain point topic that they all need solving. And this allows you to do two things. speak as an authority figure and be an expert and actually be that problem solver to their current pain point that's consistently nagging them. And the way it fits in the sales cycle is you'll be offering a pre-connect call beforehand to actually align the keynote to your current services. And the beauty of this is once you do it once around the same pain point, all you really have to do is add an extra 10% of tailoring to any of your pitches, workshops, or keynotes to really make it stand out and be very tailored to your specific client. And then once you do the pre-connect discovery call, you actually host the keynote. But the beauty of this is the pre-connect discovery call, because you're positioning it as a tailoring session to them, doesn't feel like a normal sales call where their guard is up and they don't know what to be doing. And then once you position the keynote, it can only go one of two ways. They'll either find it valuable and appreciate it and potentially offer a referral for yourself, or they'll say, wow, this is very complicated. What do you do? Do you actually solve this problem? Which then you're able to transition to a sales call. And if you add in additional key selling techniques throughout the discovery and keynote, you'll be able to set up the sales call very efficiently. Now, what does the keynote actually entail? There's introductions, the actual content, the transition, and the close. In the introductions, you need to be showcasing your case studies, your commitment and objections. In the content, the actual visual, the nitty-gritty stuff around it. And then the transition is where you really want to be transitioning into that sales call. So essentially summarizing the best 10 things that you've covered, the benefits, getting their answers, and then closing them onto that next call to have their final questions, pitch your offer, and then actually book that debrief. Example keynote that we've done is here. And as you can see on screen here, here's the actual results of how we generated $7.6 million of pipeline. And as you can see, there was over a 56% positive reply rate, meaning over 1 in 2 people that replied were actually interested in the keynote and moving forward with the sales process. Now imagine 1 in 2 responses in your business, how many leads that would actually be generating for your current business. And what I want to point out is the reply rate here. 6% reply rate when industry average is 1 to 2%. And we're not sending hundreds of thousands of emails. You can do the maths on this and it's less than 2,000 prospects contacted, not 50,000 emails of spraying and praying, hoping you're crossing your fingers and seeing where it goes from there. Now, in addition to the keynote method, we've also used our famous deal closer email frameworks where we go over pain points, trigger-based questions, etc. Different types of variations of emails to actually get a booked call. I'm not going to cover all of these on today's video, as I've already done a video highlighting all of these email frameworks in the link below, so go check that out. And now lastly is paid ads. So why do ads work for IT services? Firstly, because your clients are very high ticket. A single client can be 50 to 100k in annual revenue, so you only really need 1 to 2 clients per month for any significant growth. Thirdly, many IT businesses do not know actually how to run effective ads, as they're not pro marketers or they just don't run them at all, meaning there's a lot of unscoped competition in the space that you can just get in front of the hot leads. And moving on to the hot leads, Facebook's algorithm actually finds the hottest buyers at low spends. So as an IT firm, you only need to be spending 50 to 100 bucks per day to really be getting the right types of clients. And fourthly, Facebook's algorithm actually finds the hottest buyers at low spend. And since you have such high ticket clients, you don't need to be spending hundreds of thousands a month on ads to be growing your business. You only need about 50 to 100 bucks per day to be closing 1 to 3 clients a month at such high deal values. Now, the way we did the initial implementation strategy was through initial testing, creating creatives focused on one ad set, 3 to 5 various creatives on different pain points to really see which is the winning ad, and having an area focus. And it's also perfect for targeting decision makers in a given area, as many IT firms are focused on a specific geographic area. But just moving on to that hottest buyers, the way the Facebook algorithm works is that it places your buyers into buckets. At low spends, it prioritizes the hottest leads, those 3% if you remember that I mentioned, at the low spends. And the more you spend, the more buyers it tries to put in your ad in front of, the colder they get. So like you imagine the pyramid, they go to more open to buy, not even think about it, and not a decision. But the beauty at these low spends is that most of the time, Facebook's algorithm will be just targeting the hottest buyers because you're not spending enough to be going into the colder audiences. Then we focused on the campaign. What pain points were there? Who's the target? So in this situation, it was 20 to 200 employees, geographic area of Houston, and decision makers were CEOs and IT directors. From there, the key advantage of this, like I mentioned, low initial investment, meta optimized for high intent prospects. One good client covers annual ad spend. You can test and optimize before actually scaling. And then a highly targeted approach, right? With the algorithm, you're able to specifically say who you want to be targeting, so you're not wasting your time on low quality leads. And the expected results are 3 to 5 qualified discovery calls per week at $300 to $400 cost per qualified lead, meaning even if you have a 10% average close rate, you should be getting one client every 3 to 4 weeks. And the benefit of ads, unlike the other approaches, is that there's a clear ROI tracking and you can scale once you find that winning ad. Now, step 3 to actually grow your revenue, and what we did was a done for you sales infrastructure. So many lead gens and many businesses say, okay, if we double our leads, that's the only way to increase revenue. Well, that's not the case. And what we really focused on was on the sales velocity. So opportunities is one way to be increasing the business's revenue, but what we also focused on was on the deal value, win rates, and reducing that sales cycle length so we can overall increase revenue and that sales velocity. The first thing we've done, and every business needs to consider, is conducting an audit of the sales organization. And then it needs to be aligned to the buyer-enabled sales process, which you can see on screen here. Now, what most sellers do is just a standard alignment, demo, and POC, and then go into a proposal and negotiation. However, most buyers actually do a lot in the background that doesn't require the salesperson, and the salesperson is not even aware of, which you can see highlighted here in the gray areas. There's looping of stakeholders, researching, looping in other sponsors, requirements, budget discussions, etc. So the top salespeople actually align to all of these by doing multi-threading, executive alignment, building out proposals together, etc. And the way we do this with our IT partner was for a 4-phase approach. So in this case, we did a foundation building, sitting down with the CEO, building out the sales process, discovery call frameworks, qualification, service scope, proposals, etc. Client journey mapping, really understanding their entry points, conversion milestones, decisions, what's their common objections and closing procedure, and also their CRM implementation or optimization. From there, we went into phase 2, which is really creating the scripts, because every sales individual, even the best ones, need a script. Email templates to make responses more optimized and quicker. Meeting agendas build out, follow-up sequence, and also closing frameworks. And just to show how detailed this is, on screen you can see is just our golden follow-up system that we use to implement for our clients. From there, we also improve our supporting material so we can use in our follow-up and continuously be buyer enabled, continuously educating our prospects, and then also quality control, call recording system, review processes, feedback loops, and success metrics. The third phase, what we do is the actual hiring and training, hiring frameworks, role definitions, interview processes, etc. An actual training program, so it's not only founder-led sales, we can actually train to hire staff on actually how to be effectively closing, and then performance management. And then from there, all we have to do is scale and optimize the process, leaving with everything in an optimized manner. There you have it. Those are the 3 steps that we took to scale one of our IT clients to $7 million in revenue. Now you've seen the exact steps I used to generate over $7 million in pipeline. And you have 2 options. Try to figure it out on your own or work with someone who's already done it. If you want to make sure your B2B pipeline is optimized for growth, click the link below and book a free strategy call with me today where we can review your current processes and build a custom growth plan so you can actually go out there and accelerate your revenue growth. And if you like this video, make sure to subscribe so you can get more videos like this and gain more value in your business growth. I'll see you next time on the call. Peace.